Yesterday we played the NBA themed deck, so today we're going to be playing the NFL themed deck with the exact same idea where all the cards we're using are teams in the NFL. So we have the Giants, the Rams, the Chargers, the Saints, the Seahawks, the Buccaneers, because the flying machine kind of looks like a cannon on a pirate ship, the Vikings, and then the 49ers, because turns out the 49ers were named after the year that people went down for the gold rush and mined for gold. So miner is a fitting card. And I'm feeling much more confident about this deck than with yesterday's deck, because in this deck we have a champion, we have a few ways of getting damage on their tower, we have a small spell to clear out swarm cards, we have decent air defense as well, a couple heavy hitting units, so I'm feeling much more enthusiastic about winning a game than with yesterday's deck, where we had 3 big spells and very little offense. So excited to give this a try. Might as well wish him the good luck. And while we're here, I might as well tell you about the time that I went to an NFL game. I've only been to one, and it wasn't too long ago. It was probably a year and a half ago, and I went with my coworker. He's a big fan of the Packers, of the Green Bay Packers, and there was a game when the Packers were playing the Seahawks, and we lived in near Portland, Oregon, so it was like a 3 or 4 hour drive up to Seattle. So we decided to go do that. I think he originally got the tickets for another coworker. I think he and another coworker were planning on going, and that coworker ended up bailing out on him, so he asked me if I wanted to go. So we ended up going, and we were pretty good friends. He was probably one of my closer friends at the place where I worked. Even though it wouldn't seem like it, he's twice as old as I am. He was 40 something. He was Mexican. That's not to be racist. That's just to say how we didn't have much in common. How we couldn't be farther apart. He was older Mexican guy, but we got along really well. He was a really fun guy. So we ended up driving 3 or 4 hours up there. I remember the car ride being fun, the conversation being easy. So we get there in Seattle, and he's got all his Packers gear on because he's a huge Packers fan. So he had the scarf, the shirt, pretty much everything Packers related. And I wasn't wearing Packers gear. I think I was just wearing a blue shirt to kind of imply that I was, rooting for the Seahawks by wearing the color blue, but also, I don't think it's gonna. It's gonna deflect. It does did that splash? I don't think it splashed the tower. But I was wearing blue just because, I didn't know how hostile the fans were gonna be, and I didn't know if I was wearing, a different team's colors, if they would be. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know what to expect, so I was wearing blue. I was just wearing a blue shirt, and we get there, and we end up parking somewhere on a balcony. We end up walking down the street to the stadium, and when we get outside, there's people all around. It's not just people in the stadium. There's people camped up. All around. There's little tents and stuff set up. There's people cooking food, all that sort of thing, and obviously being in Seattle, almost all the fans there are Seahawks fans. And I didn't expect them to be that hostile. I kind of expected that, tensions would be high and, people would be passionate about their team, but it was kind of crazy how much they were jeering, at the people that walked by. We were kind of in a group with a couple of other Packers fans that were wearing Packers gear, and they would be screaming and yelling as we as we went by, and kind of like, not in a threatening way, like, oh, we're gonna kill you, like, not anything like that, but it was just kind of, I think they were like chanting Seahawks songs, and like they were just wild. It seemed like all of them were drunk just by how crazy all of them were acting, but maybe they weren't. And the thing was, this was a normal game. Like, it wasn't the playoffs. This wasn't a game near the end of the season that would determine if a team went to the playoffs. I mean, it was just a regular game, and it was just like that was, even though I was wearing blue and I was kind of rooting-ish for the Seahawks, I still felt a little bit like, I still felt unsettled a little bit just because of how crazy the fans were. And what? Okay. But anyway, we end up getting in. We end up having seats that are kind of behind the field goal post, fairly high up. So, you know, they weren't super close seats, but we could see fairly well. And, you know, the game was a lot of fun to watch. The Packers ended up winning by quite a decent margin. So, you know, the home team didn't do so well, but it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the game. I think we were just handed this win because I haven't been playing well, but it looks like this guy's given up. So it was a lot of fun. I've been thinking about going again because I do like going to sporting events and seeing it. It's a cool experience. Oh, nope, not yet. I've been thinking about maybe going to a Cardinals game this year because the stadium isn't too far. It's probably 25 minutes from where I live. The Cardinals they're not very good this season, but, you know, I might go to a game if the tickets aren't egregiously priced. I think they're actually playing the Packers in a couple days, so maybe I'll look at ticket prices then to see if, you know, maybe I'll go just to send a picture to my coworker and be like, hey, look who's playing. Even though the Cardinals are probably going to lose because I don't think they're very good this season. But anyway, that was the experience of going. The fans were crazy. They're not like that in college football or high school. I've been to, I think, 1 or 2 college football games, and there was none of that I noticed there, but people are just passionate about their sports teams when it gets to the professional league. And anyway, that's the NFL deck. If it fits, I could make like a hockey or a baseball themed one, but I'm not as familiar with those sports, but I might look into it and make a deck based off of that. I think we could, off the top of my head, we could put Tornado in for the, I think there's a hockey team called the Wild or something that has a tornado or a hurricane. But anyway, that's going to do it today. Hope you have a wonderful day today. Hope you have a good weekend, and I'll see you soon.